Hello, Juneau Park. Woo-woo. Welcome. Thank you all so much for being here. We're going to get underway with Poetry in the Park, reading number 3 this season. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for being flexible with the rain date. And a huge pleasure to welcome Izard, Gnat Bowden, Dawn Tefft, and Tacey Atsitty. So thank you all for being here. What else do I have to say? So this is the second to last summer, where'd it go? The second to last Poetry in the Park. So we'll have another one on September 9th, rain date September 10th. Hopefully in September we don't need that, but just to let you know, September 9th, right back here, 6:30, featuring Steve Tim, Alexandria Delcourt, Anita Warner, and Andy Grisevich. So some Madison friends that we'll spend some time in the park with. Speaking of friends, huge thank you to Juneau Park Friends, who've supported the series throughout its life, in particular this season, because of government funding and the government in general being a shit show and a nightmare. They stepped up and we're here, in no small part because of their generous support. So huge thank you always, but especially this year, to Juneau Park Friends. And I want to say also we have books for sale by some of the poets joining us at this table here. Also, that's lovely stand back there. That's where Ian is. Ian has some artwork, some chapbooks. So visit both, leave with some merch, and support the artists who are joining us this evening. And I think that's all the announcements. So we can dive into some poetry. Beginning with Ian Izard, who is a writer and illustrator whose mixed media essays and poems spin mystic stories of longing and melancholy. They have released 2 chapbooks, Electric Dreams and Little Boots on My Head. Their illustrated artist books have been shown at UWM's Peck School for the Arts and MyAd. And work from Black Space is currently on display at Asia Fine Arts Gallery and Boutique. Izard is a participant in was a participant in the Weird segment of the Woodland Patterns 31st Annual Poetry Marathon, which was a memorable segment and a memorable marathon. So thanks for being part of that. Izard is also a painting instructor for Fever's Neon Brush Experience and a member of the Jazz Gallery Center for the Arts Gallery Committee. Ian, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. There you are.
Hey guys, so as you were just introduced, I'm Ian. Today I've got really one long poem, but it's broken up into a couple of parts, so I'll give you guys some breathers in between. But otherwise, I kind of started this poem when I was at work, and then it slowly grew over time. A little context, I work at the Rave, so especially in this first part, that's really, where work comes in. But then afterward, I started thinking more about just my general relationship with the environment, the sort of political climate happening now, and just the whole idea of community as a whole. And so I tried to rope all of those in together. This poem is titled Another Lonely Pilgrim, but first I'm just gonna read one small short kind of invocation just to get started. Yo, talk to Lucifer. He's been trying to reach you. You cry out to Venus, but he doesn't greet you. If you blindly charge love, then I beseech you, tread lightly over ground, lest it come meet you. Part 1, Lamentation from a Worn-Out Venue. I wish I had a zipper from my skull down to my ass, so I could slip from my skin and walk naked through the world. Something inside is starving for freedom, something begging for a little more space to release all the captive energy waiting to explode while I'm at my job. I'm not crazy. I want to be natty. And I can already feel those fine teeth as I slide my hand down the crooked curves leading away from the seat of my soul. Practicing while I'm at work, I lift my heels from the ground, forsake this mortal coil, and float across the cold earth. Then I set off across the sea of stars. Without a form, I can go anywhere. I can float across the abyss inside and see wells that my heart draws water from. So much joy can live behind someone's eyes as they scream at stars. Phosphorus burns bright. They shed their skin, drop their baggage and trash, and feel with every fiber of their being. There's something weird about it. I feel closer to the truth, like every faux face and smile I've ever worn was an act. Unfortunately, my body's still here, waiting in the back wings of this theater, swaying with a puppet's protracted grace until it's time to clock out and go home. Mentally, I've been clocked out for hours. My uniform hangs loose over my frame, and my mind won't latch on to spoken words. The noise is just another lullaby. Load in at the crack of dawn, and out by witching hour. My job is liminal, and I exist between that. I exist between this show and the next, and the one after that, just a brief pause before the next string of tasks begins and I fall back into the rhythm of things. But I'm turned around inside, desperately balancing plates between the night and day, calling my friends from the only drive-thru that's still awake when I have time to breathe. My eyes sweep across the space, searching for something solid, something real inside those walls. I want color, something alive. There's so much of it at work, but it's fake. Color, I mean. It's the mask that we wear, the facade we have to show our patrons to conceal the voids behind the scaffolding. Empty, because there are no spirits there, nor days when a stray wisp might wander in, save for mournful fellows remembering when all the people came to offer praise. A venue, a location, a staging area for something more, an altar for outsiders to fulfill their dreams, then go home. When the performance is struck, all the color washes down to the ground and floods out the doors to follow the crowds, making slick rainbows on the street. The concrete reminds me of a blank stage where brutal shadows and hues dance for me with a new set of forms to admire, and all the color in me drains with it. Part 2, a retreat back to the sacred garden. When I'm headless, I can dream, and with that sacred distance, ask myself why I choose to stay in empty temples. On my days off, I ponder this question as I walk to a clearing in the trees where the light's gaze was unperturbed and a wide open sky waited for my prayers. A quiet little spot out of the way where I could clear out my head and take flight, somewhere to listen to the land and stars without getting caught in the plots of men. I came to that place a lot, to that small sanctuary where I could escape my work and finally feel alive. I live for those moments out in the wild, if the wild even exists anymore. I yearn for the interconnectedness of mycelium networks underfoot, slowly weaving everything together. Instead, there's this long and quiet distance as we play different scripts in our heads, scripts I never found the passages for. But distance is so fickle because someone else came there. Strings of garland through the trees and rocks painted with bright muds. Who were they? What did they want from that place? Did I stumble upon somewhere sacred? It felt like it, but did they feel that too? Do they feel the energy in the ground? Something inside is telling me to run, to find another holy place to rest before they rip this facade from its frame and cast it all adrift, me included. Admittedly, I'm not fond of people, but I can't explain the reasoning why, except to mention how cold the world is. Truly, that's my main reason. There's also fear, disgust, fascination, and about 19 other herbs and spices found in heaven's forgotten party mix. I know that dry, earthy taste oh so well, but strangely, I felt more alive that day, as if the garden had found some new guests who would set aside their own prideful masks and pour themselves into the wind instead. The sun felt warm on my skin, and the noises in the air buzzed with anthropic textures inviting me to explore. There was a tree at the clearing center with a boulder that I would lie upon and stare up at the sky in reverie. That stone bed was turned into an altar, with a covering of loose moss, grasses, and a skirt made of colorful flowers. Beside was a bottle of ale, open, a sour libation waiting for the earth. I resolved to return soon, but it was always empty when I came, and I rarely heard a fugitive step wind the path's long procession. What I found instead was a steady stream of garbage slowly accumulating in the shadows of that sanctuary. Crumpled up cans and empty blunt wrappers, piles of dark ash and a pair of socks. But the flowers were still fresh and vibrant, and the place lacked a certain human touch before, so I was happy to clean up after. Part 3. Paradise Subsumed in Rot. I was dreaming for some time, and life has been a slow awakening, not the sudden violent start people often talk about. The awakening was the unfurling, the stretching and probing to set down roots, demons defeated a long time ago, and the patterns I could never escape. I can circumscribe all these dimensions, but only when the mask is really off, only when the firmament is peeled back, stripped off layer by layer, then I'm free. Plastic strings and solo cups, half a box of Modelo split in two along the seams, 7 shoes lost in bushes. It started out small, but progressively grew bigger until it was spilling onto the path, the pile of shit people left to rot. Not literal shit, except that one time. The spongy soil compressed underfoot until everything around was barren, and the branches of the young budding trees dangled precariously from split bark. The land was so beautiful from the bounties that she fed us, and the gratitude we showed was to coax more out of her. Divided by the fine line in between the stars above and the land 6 feet deep, people pick and trim and reap and sow till the original being doesn't exist. Now I remember why I don't like people. I don't like the speed everyone goes at. Even outside, we waste time performing, and I can't keep up with every scene change. I need this face just in case I need to reach out a hand to friendly fallen angels who'll send me on my way. But no angels paid visit on the morrow. I was already half done anyway, but I was hoping someone would return to finish all the work of cleaning up. Instead, I found myself working again, a puppet again, without strings this time, which was concerning from implications I drew between this and my own free will. It went on for 10 long weeks, an unnatural disaster, cleaning, in isolation, remains of a bacchanal most foul. Against the frustration and gnashing of teeth, I continued offering devotion to the small place that brought me so much light. Did I feel like a fool? A little bit. But fools have 2 paths stretching before them, one drawn to the heavens above their head, another descending below their feet. I crawled out of my skin so I could walk both. What I do on my own time is a reflection of me. Every sacrifice I make is for the growth of my soul. If I looked away, it would be the same as abandoning the passion I held. If I leave, it's just another venue. I can't control the actions of others. I have no hunger for domination, but I can control my response to them, an equal and opposite reaction from another agent in this garden. Part 4. Hear this lonely pilgrim's plea. As they make their own journeys to a domain with free will, others are attracted to this sacred sanctuary. That patch of land wasn't mine to begin with, that tiny clearing down by the water, but I cried like it was where I was born, because it was there that I last awoke from the deep slumber shrouding this old soul. But now the grass is dying before me. My tears will just salt the earth further, but I can't help but mourn this dusty brown patch. I was haunted by high wraith, feeling we can't have nice things because of something that's wrong with the way people just are. Hesperus told me, you can't hide true light. It just gets obscured by what you can't see. The many long shadows you left behind last time you stood before the aperture. Hell isn't a punishment. It's where you go when you're lost, when up is down, left is right, and the light is lost behind the labyrinth. The underworld is full of good intentions going sour as we leave them on the road to search for another thing. Somewhere along the way, people get lost. They forget their mind crossed the horizon, and, mistaking their own shadow for walls, they think all that's left is that bright spotlight. They shred apart these rotten, fleshy masks till Old Scratch can't recognize the long faces of actors caught in colorful light, still pretending after the curtain falls. So if I cast myself out, would I just be pretending that I don't care what happens? 'Cause at work I'm a puppet? If I'm just a doll, then who brought me here? Who made me pick up trash, and for what reason? Who cast me in this part? Surely not them. I made a decision to go off script, and another when I chose to bring friends, to keep that space as more than a venue. Even with all this melancholic woe, I already moved, without directions. We can't control everyone we end up entangled with, but we're all just as alive, made of ever-changing cells. Whoever said the underworld was cold was a goddamn liar, I'll tell you that. Really, nobody wants to be forgotten, so we huddle together and reminisce, sharing what we remember of the sun, the feeling of the wind on sweaty skin, rainy days trailing messes behind us, even the annoying mosquito bites. I'll breathe life back into this dying soil so this free will can grow in someone else. And together, healing won't be so bad. Across the horizon, at every stage, everyone has told me to live fully. That's what I was doing in that clearing, touching grass and exercising free will, nurturing life that's full of many shades. Because a perfect world waits further beyond the stars, but all I want today is another lonely pilgrim. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ian. That was fantastic. Moving along. Next up, it's a real pleasure to welcome Gnat Bowden, who presents their research of American history through creating assemblages on paper and raw muslin. Through performance, video work, and writing, they hope to cultivate spaces for themes of history and violence to be remembered, heard, and reconciled. and to be an artist who continues a Black aesthetic tradition that refuses to be indexed, archived, or dictated by institutional tropes. Because of, or despite this, they constantly challenge the audience to resist the urge to passively witness or distance themselves from this work. Gnat, thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Nat. Let me pull up my documents. This first one is called Americans of Distinction. A crane holds a cement block. In a week, it will fall through a worker's skull. The stadium light, pollution is indiscriminate. Something fell down and pocked the earth. The exposure was slight. The temperature was rising. The syringe among the curb of a pollinator garden. Heard you were frozen solid when they found you. I am learning how not to say anything. I am Carolina Clay. Heard the darker the berry, the sweeter the Venmo will make you feel less guilty. I am trying not to say anything anymore. A commercial tells her all she needs to know, to work until she's 70. She does not need insurance, just a good pair of shoes. Dog accidentally put on a plane to Japan. Go, pup, go. I am 5 Black kids jumping on a trampoline, their heads rising over the interstate barrier. 2 soft shells fall out of the gutter for the last right place in my chest. You tied my shoe. All-American family takes a trip to the southern plantation, you said. They ring around it singing. They take a picture in front of a lynching tree, the way you wear one of its leaves on your left breast. I am learning how not to say anything. Heard you swallowed your own tongue, yet in my dreams I watch you rise and strut newly resurrected. All right, so I have a chapbook coming out in October called Disappear. I'm just gonna read from that until my time is up. I am what I always was, my mother's face clearer in mine. For every year I have lived, I have been overtaken by psychic revelations. I writhe underneath my tongue. I keep there many foreign objects of occult intention, objects of impending destruction. Tongue beyond your comprehension, by the grace of God go I am reconciling the resolution of these movements. 1, I am crawling on all fours. 2, body becoming only from the want of it. 3, possession in all of its wonders. 4, I come from the future and I demand myself to live. 5, may I ask what it is you are after? 6, I feel the need for speed, no matter the cost, no matter the relief. 7, and it is hot in hell, so keep talking. 8, it is hot in hell. I hold on as the definition shifts. The difference in a baby born in the ghetto, a baby born to no man's land. The fragile are plenty and confrontational. The sigil glides on the river to all that is left, to all that claims me good. The way of the citizen is that of the slave by way of the state. And next time you see me coming, you better run to the comfort of arms you have known. Yet there is nothing that exists that will remember you, because the weight the rope can hold knows no bounds. As my body hurls itself wide open and I fall from the top up on tippy toes, you watch as my body comes right out of its socket. They were sitting outside of the Black church. It was every summer, wasn't it, that they were coming for you? And to each of my witnesses, I take them aside. If I was never empty, then why is it in my soul you tried to hide? And each of you, of my witnesses, admit it, admit the truth. because you are suspect, not even human, never even was a child. I cannot remember the color of my blood, possibly then, fully formed never, and or no longer. I cannot bear it. 9 bodies dead in the black church that summer. Last night the sun was setting fast. Told you it left from the sky like a bomb. And because there was no purpose, and because there was no reason, and if you choose to still disappear, and if you need to still, it said, inhaling and hissing and rhythm like the sounds from my mother's womb, on a needle pinned by the sharp thing, new enough to ignore the source, and you are unfamiliar, always spotting the difference between letting go and giving the people what they think they want, with unbelievable instinct and insensitive congratulations. By chance the means are there, by the very miracle of your existence, under full force of the law. This is called The Grim Reaping Begins, or Eugene as passenger. They kill Negroes in America all the time. They kill us all the time. Are you getting what you wanted? Everything is for the taking. I take the riot as cover. Passion play, protesters kneel before me like I am the one. I am a work of monolithic speculation. I am worth more than anyone. Show you slowly down the road, the trees that used to do the labor. I am present in those moments, but I refuse to be tethered. I do not surrender. I will be free to do my evil deeds, to get my evil done, to come up short, just shy of retribution. Everything is good now. I watch the footage on YouTube. Roll over and start over. I look you in the eyes. They kill faggots all the time. They kill us all the time. And now you people have no place left to run because I have nothing left to lose. You know what they did, and even still they do it again and again. And there will be mountains I cannot move. I know you no longer believe in justice for me. For you, and maybe then. For you, that maybe yes, I'll take whatever is left. You showed me when I was up in heaven. You showed me only through this violence am I allowed to grow. Only then am I allowed to know. Here is a story up on the killing roads, leaned up and angled on both sides by fields, yellow grain, cold gold America. The murder hotspot twitches under its collar. The hottest winter on record, or Jacob's bunker built Plinko toward the sky. All they heard was the quaking of the world. That was all there was. Rumbles of an easier witness. Too many teeth in the dark, grinning like pumpkin seeds inside my skin. At some point, you must have gotten as lonely as you're ever gonna feel. Picture yourself in a continental car, yawning in a bloodbath, toe tag after huddle of force, rain down here, state gesticulation. Ohio welcomes you, but you know it follows you wherever you go. It's not that you can't trust yourself, your memory. It's that time exists so infinitely, and the time is fitted within realities so inflexible and finite, so shaped and shortened by suffering and brutality. We have built up a tolerance to this delusional power, this order, and this access. Violence has shaped the way you can think about yourself, thinking about yourself, thinking about the past. You die, yet you live. You live because you have already died. You are indexed, not archived, and you will return, and you will still be just the body, never the human being. That which relies upon your annihilation also depends upon your liberation. The machine changes its speed and direction. You cannot fit within its mouth to disrupt the innards, but you reach your hand through anyway. And you are not punished, but you live. You are maimed, but you live. And you do not have access to the cannon that you need, the resources that you need. Your identity becomes metaphorical because there is so little of before to name. But there used to be so many of us, and it's okay that you do not recall. That's what supremacies rely upon. You are the living embodiment of proof, but who are you and what are you going to do about it? Where did your voice go? They took us all out over a decade, and I watched the preservation of the nuclear family as I go into my shelter. It is okay to remember me. I deserve so much to be named. When they try to make sense and someone tells them with their power that they cannot even fathom what they witnessed, experienced, she continues to brush off the reality. These Candyman murders are stories, rituals. Her eyes cast in bright light as she listens to the story of how he was brutalized and killed. She speaks his name to claim his non-existence, and then he is there in the flesh. The black reality isn't even reachable to her. Like blackness, it is not even readable to Helen. She is colorblind, and everything is haunted. America must end. The world must end first, for you and then for them. Then the possibility of the freedom we were promised, hidden inside and beyond this annihilation. The shadows on the wall read like white deception, of white delusion. That which leads to total control leads to a soul of absolute corruption. There is nothing within a siren but a sound. Bound once and beaten plenty into empty, a viral death video you watch on your phone and you wonder why. You are wondering where the anger comes from and where it will go after the killing is done. Even though it settles, it may never fully soothe. Even as it strangles, the more you twist, the worse you shout. And was it worth it? Was the blood wet where you were when you touched it? Rejoice. Possessed are the broken, and beware, plenty are the fragile. How I am on time? Good, I can stop. I can do one more and then, okay. I read this at the poetry marathon that I had the opportunity and pleasure of reading with the Moody Zine time block. This is called Holy in the Media. Which flesh would be good enough? A generation once intact continues. An iron hammer swings down your left leg. Severed limbs in Oklahoma. Freedom comes through rubble by way of 2 bombs left unexploded. And then there will be a haze, a torture, a swift disappearing of the witnesses, and with them their truths. And the form of facts you can't bear, of allegations you can't stomach, and so you refuse the reconciliation. One day we will be face to face, and there will be no one to stop me, no one at all. The house rat and responsive trap. Piece by piece, I fed it facts from the New York Times until it was gagging. An enforcer crawls upon my floor, an enforcer in the driveway. No hands, no gasoline. Even though I understand it doesn't make me delicate, is your break in the bronze sky. With the dark dirt in human form, I slow and let them get away from me. I am becoming outside of history, not dependent on time. I am becoming anthemic. A baby is born in no man's land and crawls before it trusts its own mother's milk. BP, seeping omen into oceans. Shit on the sidewalk with never-ending apocalyptic stench. I can see into your head, the spectacular spits upon my spit. Paula all in red, her robe like a liquid. I lay in the dark and it feels like the cars are coming right at me, yet she yanks me from my arms. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, it's a pleasure to welcome Dawn Tefft, whose poems appear in Denver Quarterly, Fence, and Witness. Her full-length poetry book, Once Upon a Riot, is no longer forthcoming, as this bio says. It is here. It is right there at that table. From Match Factory Editions. Her chapbooks include Gosling, Fist, and Field Trip to My Mother and Other Exotic Locations. She earned a PhD in English at University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. Volunteers as an editor for Packingtown Review and works as a union representative in Chicago. Dawn, thank you for being here and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. Can you hear me okay? Is it too loud? Too soft? Okay. And I wanted to say I really appreciate the rug here. It really pulls it together. makes it feel special. So these poems are all going to be from my new book, Once Upon a Riot, which is about the importance of resisting forms of oppression such as fascism and economic exploitation, and also about the beauties and challenges of raising a child in our political moment. Home, shelter, view. Two lit windows, I have to check the time, okay. Two lit windows across the way and a scream from a child below. Doorbells ringing in my apartment and the apartments all around me. A masked neighbor touches our shared doorknob on the gate to the lot. I say, "You go first, just let it slam, that way I don't breathe on you." 2 blocks away, the lake has taken what it wants. Water covers the beaches and sidewalks all the way up to the painted benches. My toddler tries to run into the lake, where it overtakes the path and the prairie grass. People in masks take photos and videos to show it really did erode overnight. We all gawk 6 feet apart while my daughter shovels sand where there should be concrete. When I get home, more emails saying workers need ER visits covered, and my daughter draws me an endless spiral. Meanwhile, all the normal emergencies continue to accrue as people eat too much sugar and continue to drink to the point of blackouts. Today, my mother called to say, "Someone shot off my brother's ear." The ongoing work of liberation, or the aggressiveness of liberation theology. Your skin knees, I've never seen you bleed before. I hold you while you cry, and then you get down and run, and fall and run and fall again. A way to unfuck democracy. You try to join every volleyball or soccer game we pass. I pick you up and carry you screaming. Architectural details minus content is merely mechanical. It doesn't matter that the bricks are made from mud dredged from Lake Calumet, or that the factory is in ruins. It says a lot that there's a memorial rose garden for a strike, that workers were paid minus the rent for row houses, and your skin is blooming with crusty roses because you see yourself everywhere you can't wait to get. And I apologize, I do not do the little sticky notes like I should. So then I have to flick through and find things and can never find them in time. Yeah, I'll come back to that one if I can find it later, I guess. I should say that just in case anybody doesn't get the reference in this one, I'll just quickly read one of the several epigraphs from the book. If we do not now dare everything, the fulfillment of that prophecy, recreated from the Bible in song by a slave, is upon us. God gave Noah the rainbow sign. No more water, fire next time. James Baldwin, The Fire Next Time. Nashville's courthouse is burning. I turn on the TV to learn more about the poetry of the headline. The news labels all uprisings as riots instead of need. There is no easy way to step up and say, I demand to be free. Mayors allow police to kill freely, and the president tells senators who are black to go home. I want to write in your baby book that everything Baldwin wrote was in between fires. A pause to breathe hope and fear into chests, bellows for particular ends. There's supposed to be a sweet poem in here about my daughter somewhere, but I've lost it in my book, so if I recover it, you'll get it. When I win, I start again. With my one wild and precious, I am compelled to press start over and over. Why must I dive into the cleft, sit with my Schneepart, come up with the mouthful of, I did it wrong, consult the cards looking for Empress in the new year, or at least the Fool at the start of the month? Why can I not find the place where the route snakes forward? See the strategy of the maps I spread across the office, the way I decorate a couch or raise my daughter to jump on a trampoline. How the earth shakes when I pronounce no pasaran to mean the fascists will die in the mountain pass, and when spring comes, it comes with new songs. Touch the underside of just about any valley so that it moans with today and is not merely a sight. All that history is how you arrived here. Oh, there's the sweet poem. Okay. April 14th, 2020. Chicago's beach is empty of people and filled with pigeons. The blue lake creates a postcard backdrop to your swing. No children running the playground, just empty bottle caps and peanuts. We have this time to ourselves during what should be the workday, what should be entire work weeks. You run ahead to walk concrete ledges like balance beams. Your hand is small and warm when I hold it on the high parts. Men who eat ring forts are the same as men who eat my actions with their dead-eyed stares and flippant rolling mouths at the edges of the universe where the centuries unroll into and out of my womb with only lip service about my skills at flattening a plan written across a map on the top of a table filled with pins and the drippings of mustaches that have to be swept aside to make way for the world that is unrolling into and out of the symbols that shift, even though they were once hard data connected by synapses, and theories about how to win against kings and their kingmakers who are daily inventing new methods to tally, grind, wax, and wane, even if only on the head of a pin, where angels dance without sense or vision simply to entertain those who would place a heavy creased thumb on their crowns. Insurgent. It didn't matter that we couldn't afford all the electric bills that made light. I did my homework romantically. I did my dodgy life by candlelight. A child who didn't know not to play with her grandpa's war-given glass eyes. A practitioner of the retrograde arts, the unimagined girl in the backdrop. I watched men and waiters fishing in weeds, magically pulling fish from the grass. I rode in a car with a red body and an orange hood salvaged from junk. I learned all the things that shouldn't go. I was the girl doing kerosene math. I'll read this one because it always feels like a very Milwaukee poem. Groceries, beer, liquor, lottery. My date studies geography, but not boring geography, hot geography. The kind where they figure the ratio of Jesus to horses. There's always a ratio, Jesus to horses, high schools to speedways, liquor to lottery. All landscape makes me sad. There are always people picnicking near the pond at the end of the park, and all I can think is it's too far to walk just to sit on a blanket. The people reading in chairs tire me too. How do they manage to be so relaxed? Does it require a lifetime of practice? While the whiteness of vans in the sun echoes through the parking lot. Those lines in the lawn become wavy near the lot, as if to make a point. And yet patterns are neither just plans nor just accidents. For instance, my teenager brother stole and stole and stole until every TV was a replacement for the one just used to buy smokes. Terror. My neighbor's missing teeth, those blank pages, a 30-foot white cross looming in the rearview mirror. I keep trying to find new words for this must-be disease, the difficulty of shitting in jail. There are no keystrokes. Here are all the shivering testicles, coughing nights spent on the Wisconsin Capitol's floor. I once knew how to use verbs, the leafy redness that terrorizes from gardens and vases, an inward branching, Simone composing, swelling with Mississippi goddamn. Take one, take two, take three. 1. I want to know my own face in each of the rooms. Already faces there, looking like someone no one imagined, like no one's idea of a good time, or a strike one, or a line that grabs you by the throat, or even just a slow swing in a hammock in the breeze. Birds hanging around, singing the kinds of songs that birds sing, cake with funfetti sprinkles, and lithographs of the original anti-fascist man in a cap. All the chairs are already taken, and a chorus of high school girls starts whispering, "It's probably time to sit down," but some witch not exactly hiding casts a spell, less about knowing than feeling one's way through a room. 2. I want to know each of the rooms, looking like someone, like no one's idea of a strike one, or birds hanging around in the breeze. I want to be the original lithograph of the anti-fascist man in a cap, funfetti sprinkles, a chorus of high school girls. It's probably time to cast a spell, less about knowing than feeling one's way through a room. 3. I want to know someone, a chorus of girls, a strike one, birds hanging around in the breeze, to be the original anti-fascist man in a cap, funfetti sprinkles, a way through a room. And I think this will be the last one. Beauty's necessary and unnecessary. The trees look greener in food stamp season, and our stomachs are composed of spider webs with sunlight on them. I've been whetting my hunger all day on the strop of your abundance, while the beautiful chain gang that is my family runs the streets. Their discord is a symphony, waking us all from bluebird reveries. And we rise slowly.
Thank you so much, Dawn. And here we are, closing things out. Thank you to Tacey M. Atsitty, PhD. Diné is Sleep Rock People and born for Tangle People. She is the recipient of the Wisconsin Brittingham Prize for Poetry and other prizes. Her first book is Rain Scald, and her second book is At Risk from the University of Wisconsin Press. She is a member of Advisory Council for BYU's Charles Redd Center for Western Studies and a board member of Lightscatter Press. She is assistant professor of creative writing at Beloit College in Wisconsin, where she lives with her husband. Tacey, thank you for being here and welcome.
Yat Kwasana, Shay Sani, Hadlana Dashidine, Tsénahabiłnii Nishlan, Katnasati Bashichin, Kamahira Shichero, Nashkama, Swarashanala, Akot Al, Diné, Sanishlan. So I'm happy to be here with you all tonight, and I wanted to say that you don't need to clap every time after my poems, but if you want to give me a standing ovation and encore at the end, you're welcome to do that. So I'm going to be reading from both of my books. My first book is called Rain Scald, and I wrote it when I was a master's student at Cornell University in Ithaca, New York, and those of you who are familiar, they have some really beautiful gorges there, and so that really, the experiences there that I had in the gorges and at Cornell as a student really impacted this this book. So I'll start with Snake White, Owl White. This is the first poem. Is that too loud? No? Okay. When I say my cheek fell, I mean bone. Gliding pale sunken, I mean it hides in rain and a skylit cell swelling. This is me fallen together. Separated from her, a mistelling of female warrior who split in two, who pulled from her gut well a lumpy snake, pale with a scaling tongue. Word slit. I've heaved her pang, her yell at the snap of his tail. They drop into words at the end. A quell to the floodline of a uvula. Face, cheek pouch, high shell veins, birds swim silver in sky. An owl drops to dwell with me. Gapes, it's death. I step back, I can't tell how he rises and dives at me, then turns flight just before my head. When I tell you this is where bone rises to white, I mean tomorrow, a minute later, dive well. Rain Scald. When standing in rain for so long, you no longer hear or feel it falling. You believe it's stopped. Step away, look to your skin, muck itch. It's a shame your hands have gone bald from fungus, taking you to what's beneath scab, to one of those nights when you know your gums will bleed. To say it's been a while or it has to do with wrist mange is to say rot comes so easily now. Skin weep, lapse, step through the whole black of your home and still know exactly when to bend your finger for the light switch. So familiar in a bod, shame, your hands have gone haywire, taking you to what's beneath rust, ranges they've grazed. A time when you're combed through, when you know your knuckles and all that rain has swallowed. There were a number of students my first semester there at Cornell who were committing suicide. They were mostly undergrads who were in the engineering department, and it was really quite horrific to be there during that time. But the community really pulled together, and this song is for them, to the gorge dwellers. Night song. With no fire you offer nothing. Say, a body found, Fall Creek Gorge. Eventual, it is meaning to happen, meaning to say, dear fellow. It is with deep name, strung like hair, water strands made old, made white, too close to dark. Second tragedy, Fall Creek throat, repeated, loss, Thurston Almanac of the Gorges, litany of wrists. Look down at your wrists, down here where the thick laps the lips, where you haven't been taught to pull yourself out of the plunge pool and look for fire, look for rings shifted to your thumb and forefinger, there like vapor wrapping you in strips. In this falling moment, cities sink into the depths, drown the earth face, carried up and away in the current of a whirlwind where mountains hide. In deep blue, what faces bring, a reservoir filled, following the night when day fell into day, soon followed by night into night to night, thrice with no moon, thrice with no flame, kept in the thick, thick. Raise your hands if you ever heard of the Anasazi people. A few of you? So yeah, as Diné people, we call them Anasazi, and they're called the ancient ones. They're not our direct ancestors as Diné people, but this is my sort of ode to them. A lot of people don't know what happened. They say the people just disappeared out of nowhere. So Anasazi. How can we die when we're already prone to leaving the table mid-meal, like the ancient ones gone to breathe elsewhere? Salt sits still, but pepper's gone rolled off in a rush. We've practiced dying for a long time. When we skip dance or town, when we chew, we've rounded out like dining room walls in a canyon, eaten through by wind. Sorry we rushed off. The food wasn't ours. Sorry the grease sits white on our plates. And the jam that didn't set, use it as syrup to cover every theory of us. This is the last poem in the book. It's part 3. Oh, holy people, show me how I am human, how I am soon to sliver. Stay, please, for woman or man's sake. Succor me from a telestial state, where I long to be self-luminous in a slate of granite. That's Pico. He's really moved by my poem. He's our rescue. We've had him for a year. He's deaf. He not very social yet, but I mean, he's saying he wants to be friends, but you can't tell. Okay. Succor me from a telestial state, where I long to be self-luminous in a slate of granite. How easily I fall to shards, a hand left to wane ungathered. How easily we gather rocks for pockets. What drowns is not the boulder, but swivel water bait. Oh, Diné. Hook me by the ribs, bear me up to human, so I know to come here only when it's a male rain. This is how I dry my hair, kept from weight of water. If all you can tell me is, wait, let it be enough to know how sparkling can. Oh, holy people. Thank you. Okay, so this is my second book. It's called At Risk, and I really love the photography. It's by Cara Romero. She's a Chemehuevi photographer. She's doing really great work. And this is a Yoko Ono and John Lennon, right, was inspired by that. And so this book is about love, like all kinds of love, but mostly like unrequited love, you know, never got love back, kind of hurtin' songs kind of here. That's what's here. And I don't explain too much in this book because, you know, my husband's over there with Pico, and out of respect for us and for him, I don't talk too much about it. but I will read from them because, well, a February snow. I thought I knew love in every drag of the tongue across icing. Sparkle and glaze, thought I went wading into stars. pulling my dress up to my knees. I get like this when it precipitates, fall like salt, muscles in my back tear to the point of floating, bearing flakes. They come heavy now, lacking grace, exposing the weight my collarbones carry. The wind can only lift so much with its song. Snow is a blessing. Its color amplifies silence, so you can hear every crunch or offering of self. A sugar cookie wrapped in napkin. Alas, all that's here is a field of snow and a napkin to cleanse my lips of any leftover sweetness. I ate that cookie for days until I fell brittle. It's the time of year when I sink into my armchair into threads of branches gone bare. It's tough to tell in this scene if it's birth or dying time. All I know is it's the season when wind comes crying like a baby whose head knocks a pew during the passing of the sacrament. That silence, her long inhale filling with pain. Sonnet for my wrist. I tend to mistake your ribs for a hand towel. It hangs on a nail above the wash bowl, the hand towel ripped. There's something wearing about the end curve of thread. When I sleep, I keep my palms open. Verb, we were lovers in a field of gray. In Navajo, we say something rote. I'll radical if you hurt me something close. Even you waft. It's best I tether, forget flyaways I plucked. My bones, they lie to me like fray, like gaunt. I don't crawl back for fragments. Even a spinal cord is sinew. It's not going to close. You rope me from stray to grip. It's all for naught. I'm born for my father. Tangle People. Our mouths in webs. Tonight my wrists part and you chase my insides until they dangle into pieces. This next poem was published first for Poem Day. If you haven't heard of Poem Day, it's with the Academy of American Poets. And you just Google Poem Day and you can sign up and get a poem in your inbox for free every day. And I'm excited to just share that I've just finished my curation for November. So if you sign up now and kind of amp up for November, you get to see all the poems that are coming then. But this poem was first showcased in Poem Day a few years ago. It's called River Silt, and it was chosen by Joy Harjo. Water levels have bled out, like it had just bitten its lip and was about to swell, then rip. Had I paid better attention to drought, listened more to the crows, and stayed with the mountain clouds, I'd have let go of the knot swing hanging above the slow life flow beneath my legs. I'd have prayed to forget all the times he came to me, but never wanted me. How fast it rises, carrying plumes of pang and undercurrent, swirls of sediment and silt around my knees. The dragging stalks and leaves of irises, how pathetic they look, breaking in torrent. And I will finish with one last poem. The final part of this poem, of this book, is a sonnet redoubled. So it's got 15 sonnets, and the first sonnet has one line and the subsequent 14 sonnets, the final line for all the other ones. So it's called Lacing, and this is number 13. I was reciting Lord Alfred Tennyson on my back in a canoe, floating the holiest way I knew. So close to ghosts and went pale for a moment before finding myself wandering among high pines. I didn't expect to emerge in white already, with my heart in his hand, just as normal as a shell rests on my chest. Didn't expect to hand it over so early on. At the boundary of our properties in a dream in the grasses where he ended and I began, I'm feeling very still. Now that we've crossed over into the pale, where we are soon to thread, soon to embellish, then loop back into each other, braided the way we were taught to approach each other, the same way. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tacey. Thank you, Tacey. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Ian. One more time for all those incredible poets. And thanks to all of you for being with us. Thanks to the Juneau Park Friends, again, for being here, for the support. They've also got some tasty snacks over there. Come see us at the book table. Go visit Ian back there for some art and some chapbooks. And come back here Tuesday, September 9th, 6:30 p.m. We will be here with Steve Tim, with Anna Werner, with Andy Grisevich, and with Alexandria Del Court, along with Solomon Juneau and that extraordinary musket. So I'll see you next time.